to battle through some of these teams.
It's looking like a predominantly dead side rotation here for MK Papa and Shalom, and the question is, how much surge were they actually able to acquire throughout that process? Because we've seen plenty of times teams, they'll have great positioning because of dead side rotations, but they won't have the surge to go with it, and then they're forced into moments of desperation where they're essentially forfeiting their ideal positioning and oftentimes their lives in the process, because what other options do you have when you've got that Storm Surge damage raining in on you?
And you see Clix looking towards the backside of the zone. He's trying his best to not to have to worry about that Storm Surge. Doing good so far, 259. Rapid and Batman Booga were the ones positioned behind them. You see them, the yellow markers on your mini-map down below. Since it is going to be in the Storm, they're going to have to rotate, give up some of that elevation. That way they can save some of that HP and those heals for later on in the same game. Kaizen and Clement. A lot of teams kind of falling behind in this game when it comes to the zone. At least 4 of them right before our very eyes taking damage. Each second pass is going to make it harder for them to try to survive. Forced to use a lot of those resources in order to get that HP back. But if you look at both Kaizen and Clement, they have more than enough heals to make it possible to get in toward the zone.
Decent amount of teams also looking to conglomerate over at the Drift Ridge. When Racetrack is this poppin' and you see teams like Clement and Kaizen that have to run through that territory, you have to expect that it is going to be incredibly difficult to actually make it through unscathed. Or they might have a nice opportunity to look for some of those third-party circumstances. Only time will tell, but right now, the story for Fatch and Pamso definitely seems to be as if they are already situated a really nice elevated position so far, well ahead of where they need to be. Vico and Pink could definitely be in some trouble here.
Pamso and Fatch, they spotted out a rift far along that ridge, waiting for somebody to try to go for it. Probably being their plan A, waiting for the zone to pull in. That's where they're going to put their eyes back on it. It's King and Phaser, they're just trying to reunite, get the most out of those splashes. We've already seen King put on a show yesterday in the upper bracket with that sniper. Trying to do it here yet again. And you can see the difference in augments between the two teams. First shotgun is going to have the commonality between the two, but now they get aggressed on that high ground. Phaser trying to reposition. That's AIM and Zazie, who aren't afraid to take a fight against Brazil's best, and they come out on top for now. King goes down. Another team drops in. That's Cal Gamer and 7man that take advantage of the third party, getting all the loot, all the resources, and they already had a good loadout as well. The MK Alpha over towards Relentless Retreat. They're just adding each tool to their tool belt.
That's just salt in the wounds there. To have to watch your opposition just reap the benefits of your bounty. No celebration time for eliminations in certain situations. 7 and Cal Gamer, though, definitely more than happy for what they managed to stumble across. Other teams, though, that would certainly be happy if they could add a couple more points, a couple more eliminations to their count. Duke and Edgy, certainly one of them. Team that definitely struggled throughout day number 1, but here in day 2, hoping to have the resurgence in order to find themselves in that finals lobby for the Global Championship Sunday.
Yeah, and you can see where the zone's heading on this game as well. Very, very similar to that last. We're going up mountains, down water. You got to be able to prepare for that, and luckily for them, it did just happen once before. They got to be able to try to mimic the blueprint if they did make it far, change things up if they did not, as Kanata and Agers this time around trying to rotate as a full duo, leaving nothing for one person to try to handle. And so far, it is looking well. They're trying to go up the side of this mountain where not too many teams are positioned so far, but they run into both Lucy and Steno momentarily, who are getting caught sleeping there for a moment. So that gives them a free path towards the zone. And for them, that's a little bit of a blessing. On the other side, Rapid, not feeling that same thing. The Slurp Juice is going to be popped, though. It runs out just as we tune on board. So it's going to be up to them to try to find some sort of a refresh. You see QNDX trying to shoot above with the Breacher, maybe to drop somebody down, because they realize without no builds, without any heals, now becoming the focus, they have to think outside of the box to make this happen.
Right now, QND is just hoping that somebody else can divert the attention of some of these teams surrounding them, but it is a relentless amount of suppressive fire into these box edits, and QND Rapid, they finally get a moment to focus, but they're not the only team that's found themselves in sticky situations. We've got other teams as well. still looking to power through, still looking to make their way. Cheating, turn and burn situations. Don't know who Fahad thought he was shooting at alongside Hero, but Cheating, he had everything in his arsenal to make some magic happen. Granted, Hero and Fahad were relatively low stepping into that engagement, but Cheating not one to stray away from a clutch situation.
That he might be the hero, but I'm the villain of this story. He's just looking around. 45 materials, 5 minis, but it's the HP that is really lacking because you can see the Storm Surge is well above the threshold as well. Everything going their way, and that goes to show that these early game battles, it is a risk, but it has a huge reward on it as well. As a lot of these teams finally make it to the zone, but most of them are stacked up on the west side, a little bit more on the southern edge. As Batman, Booga, and Rapid, they made that rotation around Mega City, trying to dodge line of sights above Clicks at Epicwell and everybody else on the side of that mountain. They've been doing a good job. They were at the top of the leaderboard, and they're holding on to their position. You see them there in 6th place. If they can continue this consistency, remember the 91-point threshold. It isn't official, but you got to imagine it's going to be close.
But depending on where Batman Booga actually chooses to throw that business turret, he might be able to catch some of these teams off guard, or at least get some decent information. So much congestion, though, building up in some of these mid-tier layers. Mr. Savage, Badil, looking for a way to turf through. They know they're going to have to take some fights first before they can get anywhere. Clownski, Girls, going to fall right in front of their very eyes. Pink and Vico surrounding Mr. Savage and Badil as well. It's going to be 2 players trying to enter the box.
Wow.
Ursa eliminated off a rip. Mr. Savage did not come to mess around. And Badil, immediate backup fire. These two are just tearing through right now.
That was huge. They didn't even look the direction of Mr. Savage, not even once. And that was 2 huge shots that he used to his advantage. As Clicks and Epicwell finally find their way in towards zone, but as soon as they do, it pulls towards the left, where a lot of those teams are congested on that side of the map compared to the north side, and they're ready to fight their way through. But very, very little heals to their name. At least Epicwell, once it slows down just a little bit, can throw that business turret down, try to get some information, but for now, they're trying to beat everybody else to the punch. They don't want to be the ones that are being held out by more than half of the lobby, and you can see the different elevated teams, some high in the sky, others far below, but they're finding any nook and cranny to go through, but it's Clicks who actually falls to Badil. Even Bylop picking up an elimination. Kaizen's left by himself. Epicwell trying to survive. He's doing everything that he can because placement points haven't really set in. A huge shot towards the back, and he goes down before able to stabilize and use that slurp juice, and that's going to be a huge treasure for somebody to find.
Massive for Lucy and Steno, as they're the ones we saw a little bit further towards the center of the zone, but now it's going to be a scramble. Everybody's got to get a move on in order to make it, as the moving zones will become all the more problematic for these players to deal with. But Badil and Savage, they've done an excellent job at just holding down their positioning in that mid-ground.
I was going to say it looked like a safe rotation, but don't be fooled. Players are hiding around every corner. Shields are going to get dropped. It's Cal Gamer and 7-man showing up big here on the high ground for now, but ninth zone, we've seen so many teams get tossed below due to rocket rams and sneak attacks. Kaizen's trying to break in and do one of those himself, recycling a bounce pad, hot on the heels of Frosty, but he doesn't go as high, so that player is going to be able to escape for now. And you can see Kaizen, he's trying to recycle as many builds as possible, but he gets tagged up, forced to use, down to 5. At least he has some heals to work with, so he has a chance to stagger himself, but only for so long. He's down on the threshold. MK pop-up falls, leaving Shalom by himself. He has more than enough to work with.
But that's only temporary, because 25 builds can be gone just like that, especially when there's so much pressure being applied both above and below you. Shalom just trying to figure out which direction he wants to go next. Maybe spotted out Hen directly next to his box for the time being, but Kaizen, he's still making the most of things. Lash Splash going to be used, but a rocket ram to quicken the rotation. Jess has to hope that nobody spots him on the way back down. Miro is going to be the first that he comes up behind. Kaizen actually finds the knock onto Miro. The elimination siphon, a little bit of a materials refresh, but Cooper with a quick revenge.
Almost a huge W for him. Into the top 13 we go. Majority of the placement points have already been picked up to this point. But if you want to make sure you qualify, you got to continue going. Badil under pressure. Mr. Savage said it himself. Badil is someone I trust to frag out at the end, to pick up these points. If he has a moment to stabilize, he could get some HP back. Shields on top of that, but running out of resources, fresh out. He's going to have to think of something outside of the box, inside of somebody else's box, into the distance, lands a shot onto Source. That gives him a little bit of a speed boost thanks to accelerated Maven, even gets a knock onto Peterbot before going down altogether.
The sabotage, though, from Badil onto Peterbot. That's going to stop Peterbot's run for the time being. Kanata, though, still keeping things moving right now, all by his lonesome. Doesn't have Aegis with him, does have a nice pick-off view, but won't be able to connect. That Breacher so good at destroying builds, but can definitely be tough to land some shots.
CalGamer on the top, along with Nutty. Hopefully they don't run into each other, but CalGamer knows where his teammate did go down. Even though the reboot card, some would say he's going after, but it's all that materials into the top 5. 3 players are running around as solos. Bylaw is going to be one of them, but the Kings on top of the castle for now is going to be polarized and scented as they fall down below. CalGamer was another one. A nice shot's going to be landed, but no resources continue to build up for polarized, but scented is there. They put the pressure on. A lot of damage, and the siphon goes through. They clean house to take him out. Bylaw flies next. 2v2 situation. NA versus NA. Duke and Edgy versus polarized and scented, but this is going to be drawn out just a little bit. The building of Mega City, it's indestructible. It's hard to break through, but Duke finally finds the wall that he can bypass. A little bit of builds, a little bit of resources left.
Duke and Edgy, they know that they needed this one. It's been a tough time so far in these first couple of games. And for game number 3, this could definitely be their moment. Polarized and Los, though, they're not looking to let it go anytime soon. Up the center and immediately taken back down. Edgy stood no hope here. Now it's Duke left in a solo clutch situation. 2 of NA's finest directly above him.
What?
Massive shot, though, onto second. Duke with the back-to-back, and it's a victory royale out of nowhere.
I thought their finals run was insane enough, but they have topped it tenfold. Probably one of the best clutches we have witnessed in Fortnite history. And I'm going to throw it on over to Frankie on the stage to pick a piece of their mind of what just happened.
Duke, that was one of the plays of the tournament so far, the 2v2 situation. You're left solo on your own, and suddenly you jump and you get that shot. Talk me through it.
I'm just in shock. That was like, I don't know, I just one-pumped the first kid and side jump and just hit the other one. I don't know, that was crazy.
It was centered and polarized. You took out your North American brothers. Does that make it any more satisfying?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
And I've got to come over to you. That must have been terrifying watching your partner in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going for a play and it didn't really work, but I'm just playing the best player in the world. You just won it. I don't know.
So, Edgy, what's happening then when your partner is solo? Are you talking to him? Or are you just letting him feel and listen to what's happening?
I mean, since I'm knocked, I can't really see much, so I'm just kind of letting him focus, do his own thing. But I mean, if I was spectating him, I'd be able to help him out a bit, but right there, I wasn't able to help.
And just how much did you need this victory royale today?
A lot, just so like I could get the qual out the way. Yeah, needed a lot.
And hopefully we will see you in Sunday. I mean, the chances are now very high. What would it mean for you to raise that trophy tomorrow?
It'd mean the world to me.
And you?
I mean, it's just my dream. I just want to, it'd be amazing.
Well, Dukes, I hope your dreams come true. Thank you so much, Edgy, as well. Congratulations, Copenhagen, let's hear it!
Dukes, what on earth are we seeing transpire here on LAN? There is no world where stuff like this can happen, and Dukes just says, watch me. My gosh, the story of this as well. Scented up against Edgy, old teammates. Edgy goes on to win an FNCS. Scented looking for that title. Old teammates head to head, and Dukes is the one to slam the door closed.
I mean, I think we all knew that Dukes had it in him. We've seen him perform on a high level for such a long time. To lose Edgy in this moment, and like you said, the edit with the one pump right there, the side jump, and then another was absolutely incredible, Levin.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was getting ready to come up here and start talking about how I didn't think that was the best play from Edgy, and I was wondering why he decided to go up on his own and Dukes wasn't there. But Dukes just completely throwing out the window, right? there are no situations where you expect the solo player to win there, right?
I mean,
you know, you don't expect him to go in and just hit both one pumps just so easily.
you saw Duke's reaction. I don't even think he expected to be able to do that. So I cannot wait to see how far they're going to be jumping up now. And that was just such an incredible end to that game. You know that's going to give them the confidence boost that they need.
Yeah.
NA going head-to-head for that last victory royale moment. Now, of course, I didn't forget one big key factor here. It's 11-2K and Kelly Link are joining us here on the analyst desk. You guys can give them a big warm welcome, but my gosh, that was insane. Let's jump to the standings. Remember, if you're just tuning in, this is the Global Championship. At the end of the day, we're looking to come top 20 to move on to tomorrow. Chubbs, Bryce, they started the day with the Victory Royale, and they have not let go of that #1 spot. But as we take a look at this leaderboard, I mean, this stuff is changing. Agers and Kanata. Yesterday's performance, lackluster. Today, though, a top 2.
Yeah, I mean, Kanata definitely having a better day now that he's not having to go up to the likes of Thomas HD and Malibuka right there. But even when he does lose Ager, you know that Kanata is focusing in right now and is able to grab some great eliminations with Agers.
Yeah, and I mean, he's repaying the favor, right? It was only a couple games ago where Aegis was the one that was, you know, doing his best solo sort of efforts to try and